Hey, it's Becky. I'm not in the studio again. It's right over there. But I'm not feeling well again. So I'm trying to make sure that I get a video out, in time to edit it and have it ready to go for Wednesday. This is actually Tuesday. I'm doing it in advance because I want to make sure I have it ready to go. I will be online between 2 to 3 when I actually upload it, and hopefully it's going to be on the page. Basically in live and real time mode, so that you guys can comment it in real time, and I can actually comment back at that same time. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So the topic today is self-care for progressives. So when we're talking about self-care, we're talking about taking care of the physical Hey, it's Becky. I'm not in the studio again. It's right over there. But I'm not feeling well again. So I'm trying to make sure that I get a video out, in time to edit it and have it ready to go for Wednesday. Page. Basically in live and real time mode, so that you guys can comment it in real time, and I can actually comment back at that same time. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So the topic today is self-care for progressives. So when we're talking about self-care, we're talking about taking care of the physical self. So of course, eating right, exercising, do what you need to do to keep your body healthy, eat healthy, all that, whatever. But I'm also talking about the emotional health. I'm talking about wellness. So I'm talking about the whole spectrum. I'm not just talking about physical. I'm talking about mental. I'm talking about spiritual. I'm talking about all of it. So it may seem like that has no place in political conversation, but when you're talking about political activism and you're talking about making a stand, making changes, and fighting for something that you feel is right, it has everything to do with political conversation, because when you are fighting the good fight, it takes a toll on your mind, on your body, on your spirit, and you can actually not feel like yourself a lot of times, because you're fighting this fight that on the surface, because it's not directly, most of the time, it's not directly interacting with your external environment, but it's still there. The effects are still there. And it was multiple things that actually, because I had no idea that I was going to be doing this topic, but what really inspired me to do this topic today was not only my lovely daughter, Phoebe, but also, seeing the interactions in our own chats that we see on Real Progressives, on the page, on the group. And I'm not going to say it's bad, but the way that my daughter helped me to see this is because she actually had a tantrum this morning, and I had to deal with it myself. But that gave me a big, what, I need to not go directly to the office to do work. I need to take some time and do what I need to do for myself first, because I was having stress issues because of that. But that's parenting. So that's, got to make sure as a parent that you stay on top of your own physical needs and make sure that you're doing what you need to do for yourself as a parent. But that doesn't stop when you're talking about political conversations. So when I was on the Real Progressives group and I was looking through the different postings and stuff, just doing a quick precursor before I actually go into and start posting and everything like that later today, I was just reading through a couple of the immediate conversations, and almost every single one had some sort of, negative style debate, like people ragging on each other and saying things like that and trolling and stuff like that. It's silly. And I know that we as real progressives have trolls on our backs almost all the time, because we are directly smack dab in the middle between, I'm not going to say not directly smack dab in the middle of the two main polar extremes in the political spectrum, but we don't follow either one. So we're basically, there's a Venn diagram there. We're totally outside of the Venn diagram and over here. And what upsets me is that we have so much ground that we need to cover, but a lot of time is being wasted on petty squabbles about you not saying something correctly or someone disagreeing with you. And that takes a toll on emotional health. And it sounds like I'm ragging on y'all, and I'm not trying to. So please, if you think that I'm trying to disrespect any of you, please understand that I'm not. Please understand that I also take part in conversations that aren't the greatest, aren't the most positive. And but at the same time, at the end of the day, I know that these conversations that I'm having on social media and arguing with people back and forth is not going to change anything on a national political spectrum. It's not going to help my daughter be able to have free college someday. It's not going to help her to be able to someday have universal health care or a federal job guarantee, or for Congress to finally recognize how the U.S. sovereign currency works and project that to the American people. There are things that need to happen right now that aren't going to happen by us arguing with people. And it's actually going to do the exact opposite. We're going to be alienating people while we're hoping to push for the cause. So let's take a step back and look at what we have in front of each other, in front of ourselves, and take it for exactly what it is. So when someone is getting upset at you and wanting to beef with you and whatever, take it exactly as it is. They're trying to be negative, and you're trying to move up. They're trying to keep you at where you're at or take you lower. And that's not necessary. So if you're trying to elevate yourself and you see someone that's trying to keep you down or try and talk about some shit that's unimportant, move on. Move on, because it's just unnecessary. So when we're talking about emotional wellness, you have to be able to negotiate who and what is worthy of your time and what is worthy of your energy, because you have a fight. If we're fighting for a cause here, then we have to be able to arm ourselves correctly and make sure that we have what we need to be able to contribute properly to this fight. And I don't see that happening. And it's that's one of the main reasons why I wanted to do this video today. So the biggest part of emotional wellness is, like I said, negotiating what is worthy of your time and what isn't worthy of your time. Making sure that you're not surrounding yourself with toxic people. And that's pretty easy when we become independents, because a lot of people, when they see what we're talking about and they don't like it, they often take themselves out of the equation so we don't have to waste our time. But a lot of time you see people that see that you're moving towards something positive or trying to educate yourself, and they want to make it about them and make it like you're insulting them or that you're going against their political priority. Like, for example, in the election, when we as independents voted outside of the basically the red or blue, when we voted outside of that, a lot of people targeted us because we were seen as at fault for whatever was happening in the election. And we had nothing to do with that. In fact, we had very little to do with that. It had more to do with both of those sides trying to compete for dominance, and then their corporate buddies, getting into the action and then pulling strings to make sure whatever side that they wanted to won. That was basically all of it. But that's just one example of it, of us trying to maintain our own conscience by choosing and fighting for what we feel is right, and people going against that and wanting to make it about them and make it personal, and it's unnecessary. So we deal with that all the time, and it's double, because if we have, let's say we interact with not only conservative people but also liberal people, you're getting double the stress from people, and you're getting double the arguments from people. So to me, that makes it even more pertinent for us to take care of ourselves and to really see what is worth getting upset about. And I get that we have a lot of passionate people, and one of the most passionate people on our team is our leader, Steve Grumbine. And I love Steve. I love you, man. And there is no but or and or if or anything like that to that. It's just I love everybody on the Real Progressives team. I love all you guys in the group. I love all you guys on the page. All of this video is just an act of love on my part, because I see all of you guys getting upset, and I see that we have all these fighters ready to go, but we need to make sure that you guys are healthy. We need to make sure that you guys are doing what is needed for you to be happy. And so that when we actually are ready to go to the front lines of this battle that we're doing to make sure that MMT is at the forefront in our government, and make sure that people are actually being heard when they talk to government officials, we need to make sure that we have our strengths up, because we're only as strong as our weakest member. And right now we're pretty low, if that's the case. So let's do what we need to do to really come together, stop this petty squabbling, because like I said, you can talk to somebody all day long and badger with them, but you're not going to get any further. And it's just going to hurt you in the end, because not only did you get nowhere, you actually went backwards, because you lost somebody that could have been, a good contribution to your cause. Just because someone disagrees with you doesn't make them unavailable to be able to promote the cause. They can be persuaded if they are talked to in a way that things are able to make sense to them. Just like we were able to come to understand multiple. I keep saying multiple. Just like we came to be able to understand modern monetary theory and all of these difficult federal economic concepts, we can promote that to other people, and it's okay they don't understand at first, because we didn't understand at first. And when we talk to people, we have to be able to remember that. And I know that I do a lot of these really mental health, try and get along videos, but really that's a big portion of what is missing from the independents being able to really come together and work for a common cause. And I know that we all have our own point of view when it comes to what's best for the country, or what's best for this issue or that issue. And we all have our own point of view, and that's okay. We can have our own point of view. We can see things a certain way. But if you can't talk to somebody in a way that will help them see that, or help them know what you're talking about without coming across as an asshole, then you don't really understand what you're talking about. At least to the point where you can see what they're talking about as well. So at least be objective, so that you can really isolate the core of what that person is feeling. And most times when you can look at things from a wide spectrum, instead of going narrow, go at a wide and be open to conversations. Most times when you do that, you actually learn more, and you're able to arm yourself even better because you have that information. So there's no point in cutting your own wrists, cutting your own self at the hand, or taking off a finger by saying, well, I don't really use that one. Doesn't mean that it's not useful. You know what I mean? Just don't, work smarter and not harder. be able to incorporate other people's ideas and say that all these ideas are welcome. I may not use them. We may not use them, but at the same time, at least say all ideas are welcome, because you never know who's going to be able to be a positive influence on whatever spectrum that you're trying to talk about. And no matter what we're talking about, whether it's something as detrimental and as important to talk about as modern monetary theory, or even the gun issue that's still going on in the mainstream media, of course, because they'll talk about that all day long, or something as stupid as a tweet, or somebody, like the national anthem that happened, something as small and insignificant as that, or something as big as what we really want to fight for. We have to be able to at least know where we stand. So if you don't want to take part in certain conversations, don't. Walk away. If you know that this is an important conversation and you might want to at least lend an ear, if they are a receptive person, you can tell when you're talking to someone if they're receptive or not. If they're not receptive, walk away, because they're just a troll, or they're not at the point where they can actually listen, because you're doing your part to listen. If they're not doing their part to listen, that's not your problem. Okay? So, I'm not saying to make people listen, or to, really go out of your way and do something that really is not necessary. When you are approaching a conversation, just understand that there are certain ways to talk to people, and there are certain ways you just don't talk to people in polite company. And if they are not polite company, then you don't have to talk to them. Walk away. You don't have to get the last word. You don't have to tell them exactly how you feel about themselves and read them to the teeth. Not necessary. Okay, we have a cause that needs hands in. We have a fight here that really needs people to be focused. And if you're not focused, how are you going to help us? How are you going to help be able to get MMT to the fold? How are we going to get money out of politics? How are we going to get all these things that need to be done for ourselves, for those that we came after, like the baby boomers? How are we going to be able to help our children? How are we going to be able to help our nieces, nephews, sisters, brothers? How are we going to help them if we can't even focus on what is really important and what is really a priority? You can get mad at what somebody else says, but at the same time, you're no better than a Democrat telling us that we're wrong for our point of view, or a Republican telling us that we're wrong for our point of view. So do yourself a favor and be different than them. Be better than them. And another thing I wanted to touch on was spiritual wellness. And I'm not saying just God, because God is love to me. God is everywhere to me. And for me, I am not Christian. I don't follow any specific dogma. I mean, as far as if you want to put a label on it, I'm eclectic, pagan goddess worshiper. But for me, I've been that way all my life. So I've dabbled here and there in a lot of different things. But in my studies in religion, one thing I see is that when you, like I said in my last video, when you give out positivity, you get it back. And when you put something, when you give back to the earth, when you give that negativity that you're feeling to the earth, it will grow into more life. So really, for us to hold on to those negative things, it's really just detrimental to us being able to live, and you can promote more life by letting it go. So when we're talking about spiritual wellness, it's not just the belief and following of a deity, or belief or following in scripture. It's also belief and worship of yourself and your own personal intuition as a connection to a higher power. And whether or not you believe in that higher power, you just believe in yourself, and that's faith enough for it to be faith. That's deep enough for it to be considered faith. And for me, like I said, whether you're atheist, agnostic, whatever, what have you, you don't have to honor a God for you to believe that you are powerful, and that what aims that you are striving for are going to be even more powerful for you being involved in them. Okay? So when we're talking about wellness, we're talking about the whole thing. So make sure that you have that focus on yourself and what is really important to you. It's also important when you remember to give yourself a break. You don't always have to be on social media all the time. You don't always have to be in front of electronics all the time. Give yourself a break. Go outside. Take a walk. If you can't go outside, like me, I'm limited mobility. I go on my porch and sit and breathe and meditate. And that just small amount of time just for you to be with yourself is enough for you to recharge. And again, this isn't a directly political video, but I wanted to come here in an act of love for all of you, because I love and appreciate all of you, and I want you all to be healthy, and I want you all to understand that you don't have to just be on your guard and defensive all the time. You can really create a revolution and create this revolution a lot easier by starting from within and making sure that you are strong, and then we can be stronger together. That's basically it. If you guys have any questions or comments or ideas, feel free to put them. I don't know where the comments are, where you're looking at. It could be over here, could be over there, could be over here. Don't know. But I'm really thankful that you guys tuned in today, and I hope to be able to be back in the studio and nice and, together and get my shit together. But anyway, you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Keep yourself at number one. Keep your number one, okay? All right? And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.